Have you ever watched someone pick up a plain piece of paper and turn it into something magical? A delicate crane, a blooming flower, a tiny box that somehow holds more than just air. And you are sitting there thinking, where do I even start? I get it. I have been there too, staring at that blank square, feeling like it is mocking me with all its potential. You are not broken. You are not uncreative. You are just human. And according to research from the University of Pennsylvania, 68% of adults freeze when faced with unstructured creative tasks. Your brain literally hits pause because it does not know which step comes first. But here is something beautiful. There is a Japanese practice that takes that paralysis and turns it into peace. It is called origami. In Japanese, it is written as jerichi, combining ori, which means folding, and kami, which means paper. Simple, right? But what happens when you fold paper is anything but simple. It is meditation. It is therapy. It is proof that your hands can teach your mind things your thoughts never could. I am Dr. Hannah, and I have spent 22 years as a relationship coach helping people heal, grow, and find their way back to themselves. Along that journey, I have researched Japanese self-care methods because sometimes the wisest solutions come from the oldest traditions. Today, I want to share something with you. Origami is not just about making pretty paper animals. It is about training your brain to break down overwhelming complexity into manageable steps. It is about finding stillness in your hands when your mind will not stop racing. And the science behind why this works? It is stunning. Comment below if you have ever tried origami, or if this is something you have always been curious about but never quite started. Let me take you back for a moment. 6th century Japan. Buddhist monks are arriving from China with something precious: paper. Not for writing, for prayer, for presence. They start folding that paper into shapes that represent devotion, intention, mindfulness. This was not a hobby. This was sacred. Each fold was deliberate. Each crease mattered. The practice became woven into Zen Buddhism, where the philosophy is simple but profound. The journey matters more than the destination. Being here, right now, matters more than achieving perfection. In traditional Japanese culture, origami showed up everywhere: wedding ceremonies, religious rituals, gifts between friends. The most famous model is the crane, the orizuru, which symbolizes peace, healing, and longevity. There is even a tradition called senbazuru, where you fold 1,000 paper cranes to make a wish or to send healing energy to someone you love. Imagine that. 1,000 small acts of intention, 1,000 moments of presence. That is not just hope. That is practice. But what makes origami truly powerful is what it teaches you without saying a word. There is a Japanese principle called kanso, which means simplicity and the elimination of clutter. Every fold in origami serves a purpose. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is extra. Then there is seijaku, which translates to tranquility or stillness. When you fold paper, your mind gets quiet, not because you forced it, because you gave it something simple to focus on. And there is shizen, which means naturalness. You learn to work with the paper, not against it. You feel its grain. You respect its edges. You flow with it instead of trying to dominate it. These are not just art principles. These are life principles. And your brain feels them. Here's where it gets really interesting. Scientists wanted to know if origami actually changes your brain or if it just feels nice. So in 2019, researchers at Stanford University's Department of Psychiatry, led by Dr. David Spiegel, ran a study. They had people fold origami for just 15 minutes a day. That is it. After 3 weeks, those participants showed a 43% reduction in cortisol, which is your stress hormone. Their bodies were physically calmer, but the mechanism goes deeper. When you fold paper, you activate your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles planning, focus, and decision making. At the same time, you quiet your amygdala, which is your fear and panic center. You are literally rewiring your brain from reactive to calm, from chaos to clarity. Then in 2022, Harvard Medical School discovered something even more fascinating. Origami activates both sides of your brain at once. Your left hemisphere handles the step-by-step instructions, the logic, the sequence. Your right hemisphere visualizes the final shape, appreciates the beauty, processes the spatial relationships. Most activities only wake up half your brain. Origami wakes up all of it. Neuroscientists call this whole brain coherence. Think of it like your brain finally speaking to itself in full sentences instead of fragments. Your brain is not sabotaging you when you feel scattered. It is protecting you from overwhelm by shutting down everything except survival mode. Origami gives your brain a safe way to turn everything back on, gently, one fold at a time. And here is one more study that blew my mind. University of Tokyo, 2023. They followed 127 people who practiced origami every day for 30 days. At the end, their cognitive flexibility had increased by 61%. Cognitive flexibility is your brain's ability to switch between tasks, see problems from new angles, and adapt to change. These people were not just getting better at folding paper, they were getting better at thinking, at living. The lead researcher, Dr. Kenji Yamamoto, said it beautifully. Origami trains your mind to hold multiple perspectives at once. You see the flat paper and envision the three-dimensional form. You stay present in this fold while planning the next three. That is the exact skill you need for navigating relationships, solving problems, managing emotions, and creating anything meaningful. So how do you actually do this? How do you go from understanding the idea to experiencing the transformation yourself? Let me walk you through it step by step in a way that actually works for real life. Week 1 is about making friends with the paper. Start with the traditional crane, not because it is the easiest, but because it is the most meaningful. Get a pack of standard origami paper, the 15-centimeter squares. They are thin enough to hold crisp folds, but strong enough not to tear when you mess up. And you will mess up. That is the whole point. Every morning before you check your phone, fold one crane. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Your first crane will look rough, lumpy, sad, even. Perfect. You are not trying to make art yet. You are teaching your hands to remember. You are building what scientists call procedural memory, where your body learns without your brain having to think. By day 7, your hands will fold without you telling them to. That is when the magic starts. Week 2 is about expanding your world. Learn 3 new models: the jumping frog, the lotus flower, and the simple box. Each one teaches you something new. The frog teaches reverse folds. The lotus teaches petal folds. The box teaches precision. Fold each model twice a day, about 20 minutes total. Here is where most people quit. They jump to the super complex dragon or the geometric star because simple feels boring. But here is the truth. Complexity without foundation just leads to frustration, and frustration leads to giving up. You are not building a portfolio. You are building a relationship with your own focus, with your own patience. Stay simple. Trust the process. Week 3 is where origami starts showing up in the rest of your life. By now, you have the basics down. So pick one area where you feel stuck. Maybe it is a work project that feels too big. Maybe it is a difficult conversation you have been avoiding. Maybe it is your messy closet or your chaotic budget. Before you tackle that thing, fold origami for 15 minutes. Just fold. Then notice what happens. The overwhelm shrinks. The task breaks into pieces. Your mind remembers what your hands taught it. Complex things are just simple things repeated. This is not magic. This is neurology. Your brain is learning a new pattern, and patterns transfer. Week 4 is about embracing wabi-sabi, which is the Japanese philosophy of finding beauty in imperfection. Your origami will never be perfect. The corners will not line up exactly. The paper will wrinkle. And that is not failure. That is reality. This week, fold with the intention of letting go. When perfectionism whispers that it is not good enough, fold anyway. When frustration rises because it is not as pretty as the tutorial, fold anyway. You are not trying to control the paper. You are learning to work with what is, not what should be. By the end of this week, something shifts. The perfectionism that freezes you in other areas starts to loosen. You start seeing good, enough, as genuinely good. You start valuing showing up over being flawless. Now, apply this everywhere. In your career, when a project feels massive, think crane. 15 folds, 15 steps, one at a time. In your health, when you want to transform your body, but it feels impossible. Remember, you did not make the crane in one motion. You made it in small, precise movements. In your relationships, when communication feels complicated, remember that connection is not one grand gesture. It is small, consistent moments. One honest sentence, one vulnerable admission, one fold at a time. In your finances, when debt feels like a mountain, start with one small action. Transfer $5, pay 10 extra on a bill, fold the paper once, then fold it again tomorrow. The deeper transformation is not about the models you create. It is about who you become in the process. In 2021, researchers at the University of Pennsylvania, led by Dr. Martin Seligman, studied people who practiced contemplative hobbies like origami, knitting, or gardening. After 90 days, participants reported a 34% increase in life satisfaction and a 27% increase in feeling like their lives had meaning and purpose. Why? Because these practices reconnect you with something the Japanese call mushin, which means no mind, or mind without mind. It is the state where self-consciousness disappears, where the inner critic shuts up, where there is just you, the paper, and this moment. No judgment, no performance anxiety, just presence. This connects to another concept called shoshin, or beginner's mind. It is the practice of approaching everything with openness and curiosity, even if you are experienced. In origami, even after you have folded 1,000 cranes, each new piece of paper is a fresh start. You never conquer origami. You just keep showing up to it with humility and wonder. This is the cure for our culture's obsession with mastery and achievement. You are not trying to become the world's best folder. You are trying to become someone who shows up, someone who finds joy in process, someone who builds trust with themselves through small, kept promises. The Japanese tea ceremony, chanoyu, works the same way. It is not about the tea. It is about the ritual, the attention, the honoring of each small movement. Your origami practice is your tea ceremony. It is not about the paper crane on your desk. It is about the 15 minutes you gave yourself to be fully here. The 15 minutes where your mind was not spinning through tomorrow's meeting or replaying yesterday's argument. The 15 minutes where you proved to yourself that you can focus, that you can be calm, that you can create. That proof builds up. That proof becomes who you are. This is not about productivity. This is about reclaiming your attention in a world that is engineered to steal it. This is about training your brain to focus when everything around you is designed to distract. This is about building self-trust. Every time you sit down to fold, you keep a promise to yourself. And your brain notices. Your brain starts believing you when you commit to something. That belief spreads. You become someone who follows through, someone who finishes, someone who does not wait for motivation to show up before taking action. You do not need to feel motivated to fold a piece of paper. You do not need perfect conditions or hours of free time or special talent. You need 15 minutes and a square of paper. The ancient Japanese understood something we forgot. Transformation does not come from big dramatic changes. It comes from small, deliberate actions, repeated until they become part of you. One fold, then another, then another. Each fold is a vote for who you are becoming. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing. Not because I need your numbers, but because you deserve steady access to ideas that help you build the life you actually want. Origami taught me that beauty unfolds from simplicity, that calm comes from repetition, that you do not need to see the whole path to take the first step. Pick up the paper, make the first fold. Your future self is already there, waiting for you on the other side of that small, simple action. One fold, then another,